Well, hello guys, and welcome to another MK11 video. Today we are doing basically a ranking of all teams, diamond teams in MK Mobile, from decent all the way to godlike. The reason why there isn't any trash or bad is tiers is because I don't really believe that any of the diamond teams are trash. If by trash it means that they're not useful anywhere. So basically, I do believe that even the worst diamond team is somehow at least decent, so that you can beat almost any, let's say, game mode using them. Of course, some of those are going to be more effective than the others, but at the end of the day, they all can get the job done. With that said, we are starting with the assassin team. I reckon the assassin team is good. When they work, they are amazing. Assassin Jade evades twice, basically it's game over, she starts dealing insane damage. However, her blessing and the blessing of the assassins basically is their curse as well, because if they work they're awesome, if they don't work, when they don't evade, not really that great. So in other words, they're chance based, fun to play though, and quite frankly Assassin Kitana is also one of the worst diamonds. She's not really unplayable, but there are much better alternatives than using her. With that said, the Black Dragon team is very good. I really like the Black Dragon team. You can build so many variations. Of course, they feature Kano, who is again not really that great. And I'm not really a particular fan of Black Dragon Tremor, even though my opinion changed. Recently, I considered him as one of the worst diamonds in the game. Now, I still don't think that he's one of the best, but definitely you can use him in some pretty good ways, so definitely not useless. The problem with the Black Dragon team is that they don't have any good boss killer. Black Dragon Tremor, not a boss killer. Cabal, not a boss killer. Kano, not a boss killer. And Erin Black, I guess he can do, but again, not a great boss killer. So all in all, very good team, but there are simply better alternatives to go against bosses. That's their main drawback. Circle of Shadow team, same reason, very good, but they don't have a prolific boss killer. That's really important. In a lot of situations you have to kill bosses, and in order not to waste 10 attempts on bosses you need to have 1 or 2 characters in your team that can destroy the bosses. The Circle of Shadow team doesn't feature such character. One can say Circle of Shadow Lucane, alright, but his passive really doesn't work. Huge part of his passive doesn't work outside of faction wars. That's a problem. Quan Chi, not really great killer. Jax, Kung Lao, yeah, not really the best team to kill bosses. However, Sub-Zero is kind of decent, but once again not the best. So I would rank, probably the Circle of Shadow team will come a little bit higher than the Black Dragon team, but still I wouldn't put them into the first 2 tiers. That's my personal opinion. I never find really the Circle of Shadow team to be that great. Of course, they are amazing in survival mode, especially if you have Kung Lao in the team. They can absolutely destroy people, but I don't really find them very good against bosses, and that's a problem. Once again, they are very good in my opinion. Definitely not trash, definitely not bad, but not good enough, to be in the great and godlike tier. They have the team, again, better than the Black Dragon team in my opinion, but same reason why they don't go into great and godlike. They don't have a character that's very good against bosses. I mean, Dev Jade can work if she reflects, like, let's say, X-Ray or Special 2, but she isn't really, I mean, she relies on chance, like the Assassin team. However, outside of towers and boss fights, this team is absolutely incredible. Quite frankly, They're the Dead characters. They're the Dead Erin Black is one of my all-time favorite characters. I absolutely love playing with him. However, I have to agree, every time when I try to do a tower and just want to grind the tower, I just assemble my best team and then give them my best equipment, I'll never think of doing it to the Dead team. Not that they cannot do that, but I just have better alternatives. Classic team is an S. Now, a classic team features 3 of the best characters in the game, if not 3 the best characters in the game. This should be Classic Lucane, Classic Raiden, and Classic Raiden. Together, in my opinion, they form the best team in the game. Now, if you want to rank teams like MK11, Ronin, blah blah, whatever, on which team has the most diamond characters that can build a let's say, healthy synergy, then yeah, the best team is an MK11. But if we're talking about building the absolute 3 characters that form the absolute best team, that's great everywhere, then I believe the classic team with Raiden and Lucane is the best. It is simply unstoppable, even though you can lose with it. I have a game when I lost and I couldn't believe my eyes. I lost survival mode. yeah, if you get cocky, you can lose even with that team, but it's simply incredible, and it can work in any game mode. It can work against bosses without any problems, it can work in difficult faction wars fights, it can work in survival mode, it can work in towers, everywhere. So definitely, the classic team is a godlike team. Once again, Liu Kang, Raiden, Rain. Also, it has classic Reptile, which is one of the best characters to have at Fusion 0. Not that he's worse at Fusion 10, but you get what I mean, right? Really a solid team. Cold War team is great. Cold War team has two boss killers, Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Also, you can use it in many different ways. If you want, you can use it for Special 2. If you want, you can use it on Special 1. It all depends whether you're going to use Scarlet or somebody else instead of Scarlet. But at the end of the day, really good team, very good defensive power, pretty good offensive power. And once again, it features two guys that can kill bosses. Also, you can do something like stun freeze loop with them. So it's really good. Also in survival mode, easy time with the Cold War team. However, they're simply not that great as the teams that I have to put in the godlike tier. This is the reason why they are great and not godlike. I simply believe that the teams in the godlike tier are slightly better. They can offer something extra. MK11 team, it's a godlike, no questions about it. MK11 team has so many great characters. You name it: Jade, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, who else? Fujin, Sindel. I mean, the list is endless. So many great characters. You can build so many good teams. And once again, if you're talking from the perspective which is a team that can create the most great teams inside of it, then definitely the MK11 team is better than the classic team. However, I'm still not convinced that, once again, there is any MK11 team that's going to be better than classic Rain, Raiden, and Liu Kang. Not convinced that that's possible, but I believe that's objective. Both of those teams, MK11 and classic, are godlike in my opinion. The horror team is decent. Now, this team doesn't shine everywhere, this team doesn't have the greatest synergy. I mean, these characters are supposed to assemble a team of Nightmare, the Nightmare team it's called now, so such a horror team, right? But at the end of the day, their synergy isn't there. Like, there is some synergy between them, but it's really weak, so why are they put in a team when they don't work with each other, right? It's really weird. And like, once again, they don't have anything to offer, seriously, anything. In survival mode, probably out of all other teams that I listed, they are the worst. Seriously, they're the worst. In boss fights, probably they are the worst. I would rather pick Assassin team to a Nightmare team in order to do boss fights, quite frankly. So, yeah, they don't excel anywhere. That's what I want to say. For instance, if you want to build a team around Freddy, I wouldn't use a horror team. If you want to build a team around the Jason, I wouldn't use the horror team. If you want to... No, I don't want to build a team around Leatherface. So, yeah, that's the thing, right? They just don't excel anywhere. I'm sorry. The Ronin team is good. The problem with the Ronin team is that... Two problems. First problem is that it's not actually a problem, but let me explain it to you. They deal insane damage. Probably the team that deals the most damage in the game. Alright? Probably. I cannot say that's the fact, but probably. However, if you're using Ronin team in survival mode, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you do 200k on special 2 or 700k. The enemy is going to die 90% of the cases anyways. So that's an overkill. And quite frankly, against bosses, they're better. But the problem is that the only real boss killer is Kenshi. And Kenshi has one big problem. Once he corners the enemy, you cannot use him. Because what he does is he pushes the enemy away every single time, but he has slow recovery speed. And the fact that he pushes the enemy away kind of compensates for that. So he pushes the enemy away, and while the enemy is going back to him, he recovers from his combo and starts another one. But once the enemy is cornered, he doesn't push it away, so by the time it takes him to recover from his basic attack, the boss is going to wreck him. And that's the biggest problem with Kenshi. This is the reason why I don't like using the Ronin team. Though if you have great tower equipment, you can basically one-shot bosses with Ronin Kenshi. It's pretty cool. Kitana, not really the greatest boss killer, I'm sorry. I mean, she can do decent, but nowhere near the best boss killers. And Tequila, in my opinion, is the worst out of the three. But yeah, once again, they don't have any defensive mechanisms in survival mode, so they are all-in, both to the whole team. And the damage they deal simply doesn't mean anything in survival mode. Once again, it doesn't matter whether you do 200k and 700k. In 95% of the cases, the enemy who is eating the 200k is going to die. So why do you need to do 700k? It doesn't make any sense. This is the reason why every time when I pick the Ronin team in survival mode, I just use defensive talents and I use basically defensive items because they already have the damage. The problem they have is that they cannot survive. By any means not a horrible team, but they have some issues. This is the reason why they rank as only a good team. And the Strike Force team is a total godlike team. I mean, what can you say about that? Scorpion, one of the best, if not the best support in the game, and one of the best fighters in the game. You have the correct items so you can lock enemies into stun loop. Cassie, one of the best disablers in the game. Pretty solid. Even though as a fighter she's not something special, still, she's really good asset for the Strike Force team. And Strike Force Johnny Cage, one of the best fighters in the game, if not the best boss killer in the game. Insane potential from this team and absolutely godlike in survival mode. So this team has everything. I don't know, for instance, whether they are better than the Classic and the MK11. It's really difficult to say which of those three is the best. What I would say though is that the Strike Force team definitely is the safest team amongst all. I mean, how can you possibly lose with this team? In survival mode, it's impossible. I mean, I guess it's possible if you get Deathmark or Brutality, but outside of that, also Cassie can start with 100% resistance to the burst, so she cannot be brutalized. So the only problem is Johnny, but Johnny can stand his ground, let's say it that way. So definitely the Strike Force team, incredibly good team. Alright guys, so please let me know what you think. I'm going to link the tier list in the description of this video so that you can tell me what do you think about it and what is your tier list. Do you agree with me? Do you think that the horror team or the nightmare team is decent? Do you agree with my godlike choices? Anyway, this is going to be all for you today. See you next time. Take care.
Perfect.